Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a very Valentine's Day kind of vampy look, and usually I don't do like super crazy holiday looks, but I really wanted to just play around a little with makeup, and I am going to be continuing the story that I told in my first video. What I think I'm gonna do is a voiceover today, and I'm gonna see if that works a little bit better than last time, just me talking through it. And if everybody likes me talking through the video more, then I'll talk through the rest, but I'm just gonna try the voiceover for today. So if you're interested in hearing the rest of my story and you wanna see me do this look, then keep watching.
So last week I discussed a little bit about living in the house I grew up in and how there was definitely some type of ghost, entity, spiritual activity in the house. So I just want to continue that story today, just to kind of recap what I discussed during part 1. When I was very small, I was in our unfinished basement with my mom, and I was sitting on the floor in the garage and saw a woman coming down the stairs of our basement, and she was not real. I tried to explain to my parent that she was there and I saw her, and my mom just responded that there was nobody there, and come to find out that a woman had passed away in the house. She had overdosed in our living room. And her name was Helen, and we found out that her name was Helen from a neighbor who lived across the street who was there when Helen was still alive. The neighbor was a young woman, it wasn't like a senile rant or anything like that. Not that elderly people can't be credible, but, we're just ruling out all possibilities. So after a time, probably about a year and a half after I had seen Helen for the first time, maybe a year, my sister was born at that time, and I don't recall a whole lot about what was going on in my life. I was still small. I was 3 when my sister was born. So I'm just going to skip ahead to the next series of events that I recall. And this is actually a pretty creepy series of events that I can recall. So there was many crawl spaces in the house that my sister and I played in. And one afternoon, it was light out, so it wasn't dark. It wasn't like there was an intruder that had come in. Like I said, in the middle of the day, my sister just happened to go missing, and I had no idea where she was. My mom didn't have any idea where she was. We searched the entire house over and over again. My mom started to search the neighborhood. She informed people on the block that she couldn't find my sister. My sister was small. She was probably around 2 or 3, so it wasn't like she had a whole lot of words, but if you called her name, she would definitely come running. So I would say my sister missing had gone on for, it felt like forever, but it could have been only a half hour, 45 minutes. But when it's only you, your mom, and your younger sister in the house, and you can't find her, obviously there is a lot of panic that occurs. So to make a long story short, she just eventually showed up back in the house. And like I said, we searched for her extensively, my mom and I was like in tears. I was small. I didn't understand what was going on. My mom was starting to get frantic. We had neighbors who lived in the neighborhood looking for her also. And she just ends up showing up back inside of the house. So, of course, my mom asked her where she was, and she was unresponsive. She didn't explain where she was. At the time, we didn't attribute it to anything supernatural or bizarre occurring, but a lot of the areas we played in the house were not necessarily, active working and living areas. They were crawl spaces or behind the boiler system, which is really unsafe, but it was all open, and this was in the 90s, so it's not that parents weren't as aware, but it wasn't as supervised, and there wasn't a lot of smartphones and all that yet. So kids still played outside, and we played inside the house in various different places. So yeah, she just ended up showing back up in the house, and to this day, she couldn't tell you where she was inside of that house or what she was doing or why she didn't come when my mom or myself called her or the neighbors called her. She still has no real recollection of what had gone on. So I'd mentioned in the part 1 of this story that living in a house like this changes how you live everyday life, and it definitely changed the way my sister and I lived for the entirety of the years that we lived there. So we moved in when I was a little more than a year old, and we moved out when I was 13, and throughout that time there were very many events that had occurred, but we definitely didn't live normally. It was one of those situations where you were always looking behind your shoulder if you were alone. Like, you just felt there was a presence there. I'm sorry, I need to pause for a minute. Look how cute the Lisa Frank palette is. It's literally the cutest palette. Anyway, that's what I'm using during this tutorial. So carrying on with my story now. So it definitely affected the way my sister and I lived in the house. My sister probably didn't start sleeping independently in her own bed until she was like maybe 7 or 8, and I can't say I blame her. It was definitely a chilling environment overall to grow up in. One thing that occurred over and over again was we had a large canvas print in our living room. It's still hanging in my parents' house today, and this large canvas print there was a span of time. It was probably, so basically the print was a picture. This is another thing that was really chilling about it. The print is a picture of 2 little girls and their mother in a park in England. And that's just the print. It's like kind of this gloomy day photo of these 2 little girls like just playing with birds, and there's these trees in the background that have no leaves on them, and their mother is in the foreground with the girls, and she's just watching them play. Pretty much from the moment my parents bought the print to, I'm not even sure, a month or 2 after, this painting fell off of the wall at least once a week. And this was a huge painting. So when it fell, it was in like a large wooden frame. And when it fell, it like vibrated the house. This was not a large house. That's another thing that I should say. It was a smaller home for sure. It was a tight squeeze for all of us to be in there. But yeah, so when this painting fell, it would vibrate the entire home. And my dad couldn't understand it. He could not understand. He hung each painting in our house the same way. And this one painting it seemed Helen did not like. And we had it hanging in the room that she happened to pass away in. And it took us a while to make the connection that she just did not like the painting, until eventually one day when my dad went to rehang it, in his frustration, he just exclaimed that it needed to stay there from now on. It wasn't like he was talking to her. He just said it aloud, and it did. We never had another issue again. So my sister's bedroom was in the front of the house. So when you were to walk up the stairs, her bedroom's the first bedroom that you would come to. And it was a creepy little room. She had like these sliding closet doors, which I know a lot of people it's really triggering for. They don't like the sliding closet doors, but she had those in her room. And there was always this fear that, her clothes were moving around in the night and that something was going to be coming out of this closet. So we would try to keep it closed if she was sleeping in there. But a lot of times she shared the bed with me. I had a large bed in my bedroom, and we were still younger, so it didn't bother me to have her there. I'm sure it was welcomed a lot of the time, not that I wasn't afraid of what was going on in the house as well. So this is a really kind of traumatic memory for me, and it's one of the first instances I had with the supernatural where I was definitely scared, and I still remember it to this day. So the first time I saw Helen was a full apparition, and I was very small. I stopped seeing her after that day. I never saw a full apparition of her again, but that doesn't mean I didn't see parts of her, which were, I think, even more scary than just seeing the whole person. So one night, my sister and I were sharing my bed in my bedroom, and my bedroom was down at the end of the hall, and to get to the bathroom, you had to walk the length of the hall and then turn right to the bathroom, which was across from my sister's room, which nobody was in. So one night I remember I really badly had to use the bathroom, and I was walking to the bathroom, and I made it there safely, and on the way back to my bedroom from the bathroom, like I said, we kind of ran places in this house. We didn't leisurely walk places because you always felt like something was behind you or over your shoulder. It was really, really unsettling. So I was walking back to my bedroom and looking behind my shoulder like I usually would, and I saw a hand come out of the darkness and try to grab me. And I verbally screamed. I was probably maybe 7 or 8 when this was going on, probably 8, maybe even a little older, maybe 9. And I just still to this day remember this hand coming out of the darkness and trying to grab me. And I didn't even run into my bedroom. I ran into my mom's bedroom, and I was older. Let's say I was 8 or 9. That's old to be doing things like that, but I just remember being petrified, so scared. And my mom tried to calm me down, but you could tell she was visibly concerned about it as well. So I think maybe a week or 2 later, my mom went to check on my sister and I in my bedroom, and she had noticed that somebody had tucked us into bed, tucked the sheets under the mattress, and my mom never did that. She never tucked our comforter into the mattress, and that's how we were found, with the comforter tucked in between the bed frame, I think that's what you call the box spring, and the mattress. So the comforter was tucked in there. So my mom just untucked it. She took it as, Helen trying to care for us, but it is kind of scary to think about, this unforeseen force coming into your room while you're sleeping and tucking you into bed. So a couple other things that happened when we were in the house was the TV would turn on and off by itself. It would just be staticky. It wouldn't be like a channel or anything that was seen. It was just a static. So it would turn on, it'd be static, then it would turn off again. My mom would come down in the middle of the night and the refrigerator door would be wide open. She would shut it and come back in, and the door was still, wide open when she came down again. There were lots of things that we all started to notice that was off about the house. We were doing constant construction on it for the entire time that we lived there, so I think that it's possible that could have really amped up some of the experiences that we were having. Another thing that I recall about being in that house is that things were going missing at all times. It was kind of like you would leave something somewhere and come back and expect it to still be there, and it just wasn't there. And then we would find it maybe a day or 2 later, a couple hours maybe, if you were really freaking out about it and yelling and you couldn't find it, then it may turn up. But it would still be, in places that just didn't make sense. It definitely wasn't where you left it. There were also many other struggles that occurred while we were living in this home, and really more emotional struggles that had occurred that were just unfortunate, that had happened when we were living in the house. So I had a nervous condition as a child, and I still do, but it was definitely much worse then. So this condition kind of kept me out of school for a while. I would just be sick to my stomach every day. And I think it's safe to say that after we moved out of that home, that there was a huge change in this condition. And I think that it was definitely affected by whatever, by Helen or whatever other spirit could have been in the home. I'm not discounting that maybe there was more than one, but it definitely negatively affected me more so. I would go weeks and weeks without being able to go to school. I was waking up every day just being physically sick. And I struggled with this for the rest of my life. So it wasn't that, you know, the sole reason for this occurring was because we lived in the haunted house. But I definitely feel that the illness was amped up because we were there. My sister and I always had night terrors, really strong night terrors where, you know, we were afraid, or I just remember waking up sweating and the dim lights in my room and just being disoriented. This I Heart Revolution blush is literally so cute with the strawberry in it. And wait till you see the color. I'm sorry to pause in the story again. The color is so stunning. I was not expecting this. It's not usually a shade I would go for, but literally, if you see my face, I'm so shocked by it. Like, I'm really feeling myself with this cheek blush right now. It's so cute. And there's like a little highlighter in the center, like the strawberry is kind of highlighty. I don't even think I ended up using a highlighter in this video at all because I just loved how the cheek stain looked, and it's so cute. I love it. I definitely want to buy more of them. So anyway, back to Helen. So she kind of just became like this household name in our home. Like, we would talk to her if we felt that there was an unsettling vibe in the room, or if we felt that maybe she was trying to mess with us, or just let us know she was there. We would acknowledge her, especially my mom. She would acknowledge her the most. She didn't really act up too much around my dad so much, but with me and my mom and my sister, she definitely was acting up a little more. And it could just be that she was trying to build some type of relationship with us or friendship, or she just, I don't know, wanted us to know she was there. But she definitely became just this household name in our home. And it's crazy, but to this day, I mean, I haven't lived in that house in quite some time. And to this day, I still have dreams about living in that house, or even just going back to visit and seeing if Helen is still there. It actually went up for sale recently, and I was tempted to just go to the open house and just look around and see if it's still the same vibe as when I was there, or if her energy has dissipated over the years. I'm not sure if we had the brunt of the experiences because we were the first family to live in the house after she passed away in it, or if it was because maybe she was mad at her family. I'm not sure. I know she had a daughter that used to stay in my bedroom when they were living in the house. I don't know if she was just trying to build a connection based on that. I'm not sure if she was upset with her family and felt she was abandoned in this home. I don't know. There's a lot of open-ended questions to this that were just never resolved. But it definitely has affected both myself, my sister, my mom, my dad, everybody. Everybody's been affected by it. But I definitely still have dreams to this day about this house and just wandering through it. Some of it is very, very real. Other times I'm just like floating along the ceiling and trying to, you know, get the full scope of every room in there. It's just, it must be really deeply buried in my mind, these hidden details about the home, because I still have such vivid dreams about living there. I also feel like even though I was petrified about living in this home for the entire time we lived there, I almost feel blessed in a sense that we did, because it helped me to realize that I did have somewhat of an ability to identify with and understand the supernatural, which I believe in strongly. I'm not saying you have to believe in it. There are some people that will avidly never believe in the supernatural. I believe in it strongly. I feel there are things that we will never understand, no matter what level of scientific knowledge we have. There are just things we won't understand. The house just exposed me to so many firsts. I think I had my first experience with ghosts in general and the paranormal in that house, and I also had my first experience with, I guess, shadow people and what that entails and what occurs when you meet a shadow person, quote unquote. And that's something I really want to discuss in the future, and I don't really want to discuss it now. But if you have had any experiences with shadow people and you want to talk about it, please comment below, because I really do want to know. So I just wanted to kind of complete this story about Helen and about how this first house really affected me for the rest of my life. I mean, it gave me an understanding that I have the ability to communicate and sometimes see things and feel things that many other people can't. And I really, for a while, I just decided that I didn't want to use that gift. I was almost scared to use that gift, and I feel like I'm now finally coming to terms with the fact that, you know, this is something that other people have challenges and struggle with, and a lot of times can use and see as a gift. So I just feel like it's important for me to kind of cross that bridge and begin doing it, and that's what I'm hoping I could do with this channel. So I would really like this to just be kind of a preliminary conversation until we get into some really more interesting and fun things. So yeah, I mean, Helen really affected my entire life, and she kind of was the first spirit I encountered that let me know I had the ability that I have, and set the stage for the rest of the experiences that I've had in my life and the other entities or spirits or people that I've encountered. I think for my next video, I would like to, obviously I'm going to do another look, but I'm also going to talk a little bit more about why I feel I have the gift that I have, and my theories behind why certain people have this ability and others don't. So I want to get into the reasoning that I think I have this gift, and I think it's something that other people would find really interesting. Whether or not you believe in the supernatural, it's still an interesting discussion to have. So as always, I'm going to list all my socials below, as well as the products I use, and a link as to where you can find each one. And please, if you feel so inclined, follow me on Instagram. I don't really use my Facebook, so I don't link that. But if you would like to follow me, I will have that listed below. And yeah, this pretty much completes my voiceover.
Okay everyone, so this look is pretty much complete. I like it. I think it came out really cute, and I mean, obviously it's not like an office or a casual Valentine's Day look, but I think it's cute. So yeah, this is really fun, and I really hope you enjoyed the story. And yeah, see you soon.